Time to discuss Hyperkin. Put together this channel because I wanted to do some video game reviews from a casual perspective. Given the fact that I would bet most people that play video games are not hardcore gamers. They're casual gamers. And the reality is that Hyperkin products, when they work, fill a need for the casual gamer. If you're casually gaming, you just want to show your kids what your childhood was like, or you just want to revisit your childhood every once in a while, or you just like to game, to kill time. That sort of thing. It's nice to have an all-in-one, especially with all the consoles from that era. I don't know why Atari always gets snubbed when it comes to the all-in-ones, because I understand the 5200 and the 7800 weren't the highest selling consoles, but the 2600 was pretty dominant. Even maybe throwing a couple of those Pong games on that sold great in the late 70s. But even the Poly Mega, whatever it is, I don't have one, kind of snubbed Atari. And I figured that would have been the first thing on there because the 2600's got to be simple to emulate. I don't know. I don't do emulation, so I'm speculating on that. I could be totally 100% wrong. But anyway, Hyperkin products. This is going to be one long complaint about two consoles. So let me get the complimentary aspect out of the way. The Ranger controller that they make for the 2600 is awesome. I love it. It incorporates the paddle and the joystick, and it puts the stuff in place where you're not tripping over the paddle to play the joystick or the joystick to play the paddle. It is a little bit on the small side, but it's got a good heavy feel to it. I have had zero problems out of it, and it works with the old hardware as well. So, out of everything I have tried, I have gotten the best results from Hyperkin products with that controller. Now, I have an Admiral on the way here that everybody told me not to buy because it's a turd too. And I will update on that when I get it, how well it works. But I will say, I hope that works well because I cannot stand the length of the Nintendo 64 controller cord. If you got kids, cats, or dogs, it is a nightmare. The only good thing about the length is you're close enough that when somebody trips over it, if you're nimble, you can actually reach up and stop the console from smashing on the floor. But the reality is they're just too short. So I will at some point do something over that Admiral. There's actually a few controllers I need to do some videos on, and like I said, this is for the casual gamer, so I have no intentions of having an intro video and a bunch of screenshots. I'm just going to tell you an opinion of somebody who games casually, and I game a lot, but I don't commit to one system, so I still consider myself casual because I'll stop in the middle of games, and I have no loyalty to Nintendo or Sega. Actually, I do have a loyalty to Sega, but they don't make a console anymore. So my loyalties are they're the stuff that's out of print. But anyway, we'll start with the Retron 5. I am on my third Retron 5. I'm on my third Retron 5 because it's a piece of crap. And originally, I started getting back into gaming with Retron 5 because it filled a need quickly. While I was collecting the hardware, I would snag games, and not only snag games, but be able to play them on one console on my one TV. And I had it until right outside of the warranty. It broke. Called Hyperkin, and Hyperkin tried to help. I'll give them that. They tried to help, but the end of the conversation was a very polite, "Well, sir, I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do, and you're outside your warranty." I was outside my warranty less than a month. So I got a second one because I was still in that window of time where I needed the all-in-one. I got a second one, and the second one, it literally did exactly the same thing as far as the time frame of when it broke, but it had a different problem. The first one went white screen. Second one went blue screen. Well, I tried reflashing them. I tried updating them. I tried everything that was available at the time as far as the knowledge base for how to fix a Retron 5. So I was so pissed off, and I was getting my arsenal built up to actually play on original hardware, so I just bought a used Retron 5. Well, I got it, and it looked like the old blue screen IBM command prompts when I got it. I put the update on it, and it worked for about a month. And then after that month, it took a dump. So, and then the flip side is, even when they're working, they don't play great. There's a lag. The controller that comes with them is just garbage. And if you use standard controllers, like an actual Genesis controller or an actual Super Nintendo controller, it goes into the side, which isn't a problem, but the first time you pull the controller a little too far or somebody trips over it, that port is done. There's no durability to these things. Now, that shouldn't happen, but anybody who's got kids or animals knows controller cords get tripped over. I've gotten to the point to where I leave my hands like in a breakaway position, so if anybody trips over it, it yanks the controller out of my hand, not the console off the entertainment center. So, they're badly built machines. And now I've come to find out over the last little while that Analog, a company, I guess it's an Asian company. I'm not real familiar with it. I didn't do a lot of research. But everybody that's heard me complain about this Retron 5 has suggested the Analog versions because they're way better. And not only that, the little adapter you can buy, like Hyperkins, to where you can play Master System stuff. Well, apparently they also have a TurboGrafx port, and I'm assuming it's on that adapter. It may not. It may be on the actual console. I love TurboGrafx. My favorite genre of game, shoot 'em ups. I love shoot 'em ups. I like a button masher game. I like a strategic button masher game. I don't like one where you just randomly smash buttons. Gunstar Hero is still one of my favorite games. I know it's not a shoot 'em up, but it's a button masher, but it's a strategic button masher. Anyway, you like shoot 'em ups, you need a TurboGrafx. Anyway, or PC Engine. I love the way the PC Engine looks. It's just it's friggin' fantastic. Anyway, so I was doing a little math, and what I've spent on Retron 5s, I could have bought an Analog. Now, I would have had to wait a lot longer for it if I got one at all, because I come to understand that they are very difficult to get. So, stay away from the Retron 5. I know people have luck with them, but it's kind of like a motorcycle. It's not a matter of when you wreck, or it's not a matter if you wreck, it's a matter of when you wreck. And it's kind of that with the Retron 5. If you get on the forums and whatnot, everybody has issues with this console. Anybody who doesn't have issues, like, just bought it. And the reviews on it are all, hey, I got this last week and it works great, but there's no update, there's no follow-up. So, the nail in the coffin for me and Hyperkin was, as far as consoles go, because I am going to give this Admiral a fair shot, the Retron 77. I'm on my second one. I got the first one. It worked until it was right outside of the warranty, and I stay on top of maintenance. Maintenance is near and dear to me. I'm a former maintenance Marine. I believe that ignoring a $5 problem today makes it a $500 problem tomorrow. So, all the updates, everything, stay on top of them. I have reminders for them. I'm constantly checking the websites. And I do it exactly how it says to do it, instructional. If I have an issue where I'm not sure, I call Hyperkin and have them walk me through it. So anyway, the Retron 77 got right outside of the warranty, and it comes on, I get the blue light, but I got no video. And I've tried different TVs, removing the switch and playing it direct, different HDMI cables, ordered an HDMI cable from Hyperkin, Nothing is working. Tried to reflash it. That one's harder to reflash than the Retron 5. Didn't work. Right outside of the warranty. Called Hyperkin, and Hyperkin basically did what they did with 2 other Retron 5s. Sorry, but here's a middle finger. Thanks for buying our crap. Buy some more of our crap, because that's what we're in this for, is to sell you something broken so you can buy another. So I got a second Retron 77 because I wasn't ready to jump on the 2600 bandwagon yet, or the 7800 bandwagon yet, because I didn't have the funds. And I didn't feel like fixing one. I wasn't real familiar with Atari, Genesis, Super Nintendo, all that stuff. I'll fix all day. But got a second Retron 77, and it broke in the same time frame. You know, right outside the warranty. Broke in a different way. I get a blue screen from it. I've tried everything that I know of to fix it, that the forums say, that Hyperkin says. Nothing works. So I decided to give them a shot with the HDMI converter for the Nintendo 64. Well, the Nintendo 64 has the same port that the GameCube and the Super Nintendo have. This thing is definitely not made for a Super Nintendo. It will give you HDMI output from a Super Nintendo, but it looks like hell. The pound cable looks a lot better. Still looks bad, but looks a lot better. And for the price, I'd rather have a lot better still looking like crap than totally looking like crap. Anyway, this cable, for some reason, with the Nintendo 64, which is specifically what I bought it for, lags like crazy. I can play most games with it fine. It irritates me, but I can still do what you do in those games. But if you're playing a fighting game, you might as well phone it in. You're done. You're going to get your ass kicked and not know why. You're going to hit buttons and not move and get annoyed. And the screen is not great, even with the Nintendo 64, which is better graphics than the Super. It's still not great. Again, the pound cables look better. Now, it seemed to work okay with my GameCube. The latency wasn't bad, and the screen looked pretty good. But it's just, this company, I don't know how they stay in business. You keep giving them our money to just bend us over. It's not good stuff. It's all crap. That Ranger controller is about the only exception, and I'm hoping this Admiral as well. And if the Admiral's junk too, I'm just going to consider this company done as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to buy another thing from them. There's a company, I think it's called Retro Fighters, that are making a Nintendo 64 controller that's wireless. I found it on Kickstarter. I'm not real sure how you get one yet, but I haven't actually invested the time to find out either. But everything they've made has been great. Same thing with 8-Bit Dough and the Retro-Bit Sega Genesis controllers. I like them, but I don't love them. There's enough of a difference between that controller and a standard issue original Sega Genesis controller for me to like it enough to use it and love the wireless factor, but still want the original. Which I think most people that are purists would. When it comes to hardware, I'm a complete purist. When it comes to software, the games, not so much. I don't really have the room. If I had the room for all the games, I'd probably be more of a purist. But as far as Hyperkin goes, I know the analog stuff seems more expensive. I know it's a clutter to collect the original hardware if you don't have the room. I know it's expensive if you don't have the money. But in comparison to the amount of money you will throw directly into the crapper with Hyperkin, and the amount of time you'll spend on the phone with people who have no idea. These are the same people that when you call them and tell them your cable box isn't working, but you can see the clock, will ask you if it's plugged in. These are the same morons. So, You know, everybody needs a job. Hyperkin was hiring. They hired somebody. They gave them a script. I get that. But at the same time, you know, it's your money. It's your money. And nobody wants to just flush their money directly down the shitter. So look into the analog products. Look into getting original hardware. You know, do you really need to play the Famicom over the regular Nintendo? Do you really need to play the Nintendo over the regular Famicom? Depending on where you're at in the world. I was so excited to get that thing. You know, I had fallen out of my old habits of gaming, between being in the military, transitioning to civilian life, trying to lock down a career. I had just kind of forgotten about gaming. I had a 360 to play Left 4 Dead 2, and that was it. That was all I really ever did. But I started to miss things like my Saturn, my Genesis, my Super Nintendo. So when I saw this thing, and I was like, oh hell, pay $129 and I get all that. And I pulled the trigger on it, and I was so happy with it until I started noticing some of the lag and latency, how bad the controller was, how easily the ports broke, how the thing is put together cheesy. You hold it and you're like, this is garbage. And I don't know who's opened one up, but they're definitely using the cheapest, least likely to get sued emulation on that console. There's no like legit licensing Hyperkin has. I mean, they may have some of them licensed, but that's something that like I would think they would advertise on the box. Nintendo license, whatever licensing you get for emulation, because I know there is licensing, because Polymega, theirs is licensed and they advertise it that they have licensed software. So just my advice as a casual gamer, as somebody that doesn't like to waste money, is just stay away from the Retron 5. Other than that Ranger controller, I'd stay away from Hyperkin altogether. I don't know how common it is, but supposedly those HDMI converter cables are causing fires. Don't know how accurate that is. That can be complete rumor. But it'd be something like, if that's a concern for you, it'd be something to look into. And I do know HDMI ports, especially on the higher end TVs, are super sensitive and prone to breaking if the voltage changes even a little bit. So that's something else to consider about a third-party manufacturer that does not stand behind their equipment at all. Some of the reviews of people that did not like the Hyperkin stuff, but stuck it out with it, say that even in warranty they had issues getting their stuff fixed, and people whose TVs fried, they had to buy a new TV. Hyperkin would replace the adapter, but they wouldn't replace the TV. And at that point, oh, I got a pretty new adapter, but I don't have a TV. Well, video games are not a lot of fun without a TV. So if you're going to emulate, you might as well get a Raspberry Pi. I'm not a fan of the Raspberry Pi. I have one. It fills a need. It's real easy to pack it up, take it outside, and put it on my outdoor TV. But it's still not the original hardware. And if you're anything like me and you don't know a lot about it, you have to buy memory cards and have somebody else do the builds for you, because you don't know enough. Now I'm actively trying to learn, but I'm also a little bit old school and have a hard time sitting down and focusing on stuff I'm not that interested in. So I would bail on the Hyperkin products. I hope this helps somebody out. It's just not good. Now if you run like a channel or something and you need the HD to screen capture and stuff like that, and you're going into it understanding that you're going to be replacing this thing constantly, but maybe your channel gets enough money to where you have that disposable income, I could see where the Retron 5 would be fantastic. but that's using it more as a tool than a game system. So, do what you will with the information I gave you. If you have good luck with the Retron 5 and you've had it over a year, please comment. Let me know what you did to keep that thing running. But it's a turd. It's a turd. Even if you know people that have one that's still running, it's still a piece of crap. It doesn't stand up to the original hardware. Or if what everybody says about the analog products, it doesn't stand up to the analog products. But happy hunting.